Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Now listen, this video is really for, or live stream, is really for anyone who wants to really take buying Bitcoin seriously. I think we've gone beyond the idea of the 4-year cycle and all the metrics that come into action when it comes to Bitcoin. And the only metric that people do really rely on is the fact that there is a supply and that everyone's buying Bitcoin and then just keep buying and keep buying because it's going to go, it's going to go. But the problem with such a volatile asset, it can shoot up and down and just really shake people about. In this live stream, I'm going to break down a logic that if you decide to roll with it, you'll at least be preparing yourself for what's to come. Am I bearish? Nope, I'm just following the money. If you call this bearish, then you're not really understanding the way money moves. There's one currency that everybody uses, and that's dollar. Why is it important? The fact that the euro's nearly shot up 2%, a number that I've not seen in a very long time. Why is the yen moving up so aggressively? Why are the bonds going up? Why is the dollar going down? Why is NASDAQ broken? Well, you know what that means. We've been talking about it for quite some time. The carry trade, ladies and gentlemen, is being unwound. Now listen, if there's no one else in the space of crypto not talking about this, then any chart that is pulled up is going to be giving you false hope. This is something that is important, and you really need to pay attention to it so that you can then leave this live and be like, you know what? I've got everything that I need. I know what problems could arise if I start buying Bitcoin now. Or am I just going to say, forget it, I'm just going to do my own thing? If there is anybody else talking about this, keep them close to you, because they're trying to give you the logic as to what is going on. The tariffs are the story. Alongside tariffs, now comes the negotiations. Tariffs are in play. Car makers, 25% smack across the face. Now we've got China. You got Euro, Japan. They're all going to now do their own thing and hit back with these tariffs. So your trade war has started. So we need to throw it in there, ladies and gentlemen. Well. Bitcoin. It's kind of tricky, but let's get with the program. Mad love and respect to everyone passing through to last night's live. Mad love to you all passing through right now. I'm going to break it all down for you. Just take it with a pinch of salt. Don't start coming at me in the comments, giving me dead comments. There's logic to what I'm saying. Global stocks, smackaroo across the side. Literally, completely wiping out gains. Trump's election, he was banging on about it, that it's gone up 159%. Yeah, well, that's kind of gone out the window right now, Mr. Donald Trump. Dollar has taken a nosedive and the bonds are starting to rally. Risk is off. So they don't want to put on any risk right now. They're getting rid of it all. Now, let me just get to the bulk of what I'm trying to say to you all. So any of you that are Bitcoin maxis, this is really good information for you. Why? Because if you look at it in the sense of this is a buying opportunity, then happy days. If you look at it in the sense, oh, this guy is negative, get out, because you're not looking at the bigger picture. Let's get with the program. Why Bitcoin could be vulnerable to the yen carry trade's impact on global markets. Without diving into it too much, this is the comment. It says this: the problem today is that those borrowing costs are starting to get more expensive. Traders who were able to access virtually free capital for years are now finding themselves sitting on costly margin positions that they're potentially being forced to unwind. So you know when I talk about the carry trade, I'm making reference to the following. You buy yourself yen or borrow yen because it's virtually free. You convert that yen into dollars, and then you go and seek risk on assets, whether it's Bitcoin, NASDAQ, ES, oil, NVIDIA, you name it. Now, when this individual right here says, you know what, we need to potentially start increasing our interest rates, and the Bank of Japan's spokesperson said on Monday that May looks like we're going to have a hike at that point. Well, now that you've got the tariffs, that's just going to stimulate the idea of doing that even further. Why? Because they've already got wage inflation, and inflation is already going up for Japan. So that grants the idea of an interest rate increase. The last time they did that was on the 5th of August, 2024. Happy days. What happened? Stock market slumped. Volatility index shot above 30. That was a perfect time to buy. So what's going on now is they are unwinding the Japanese yen carry trade, getting rid of stocks, getting rid of Bitcoin, getting rid of contracts in ES, oil, US 30, you name it, Nvidia, everything, converting it back into dollars and instantaneously selling those dollars to go back into the yen at the fear of the cost of having to borrow that money from the start. Let's just have a look at the yen. The yen right now is up nearly 2%. Well, that's a carry trade unwind. If there is one, it's happening as we speak. What did we say? When the yen goes up, the dollar goes down. When the yen goes up, euro goes up, dollar goes down. When dollar goes down, the bonds go up. Euro, up 2.18%. What a joke. It's behaving better than Ethereum, moves better than XRP. And when I was trading euro back in the day, we were getting like 50, 45, 50 pip days. And I was like, yeah, man, that was good money then. Now look at your average pip range on euro. I mean, with the exception of today, going into the open, you can see we've got nearly 295 pip move to the upside. But that explains why, because where is it? Look at this. You're getting 3.08% on exchanging dollars to euros. You're getting 6.7% on exchanging your money back into yen, which explains why. They are now going back into Japanese bonds. Remember when I said they're not buying the bonds? The yields were going up. No one was buying the bonds. And they were just going into the yen currency itself. They were positioning themselves. Now they're seeing the benefit of a nice 6.7% rate of return. But it was at 4.5% only a couple of weeks back when we were making reference to it. And the 0 days till expiry was 25 days. Now you're only getting it for 9 days. So everyone now is rushing to the Japanese yen, and they're buying the bonds and holding the yen currency itself because it's a safe haven. The dollar itself has taken a smack to the downside. It's absolutely bleeding. It's come back into the green vector candle region we gave you guys yesterday, a couple of days ago. There it is. Come back down. Happy days. Now your purchasing power is in the bin. Only 1.1% appreciation on your US dollar. Why would you go and buy stock now? You ain't got no powerful dollar anymore. Now, if you did buy stock only a few days ago, you would be getting at 3.3%. And then when the markets rallied yesterday, you should have sold the rally. Now there's a lot of people in a bit of a tricky situation. Okay? So what do we know? The yen's going up, the euro's going up, the dollar is going down. The 10-year bonds market for the US is going up as investors are taking money off the table. Investors are also going into the Japanese bonds because they are going to increase the rates of interest. So they're going to want to lock in those decent yields. So regardless of whatever the yield is now on the yen, they're going to naturally increase it in the future anyways, which is expected in May. So now that the idea is that the carry trade is starting to unwind, what does that mean? Well, if we go back to the last time the carry trade was unwinded, then we know that on the 5th of August, that is when things start to get a bit tricky. And that was right here. When they unwinded the carry trade, the volatility index went to 35.88. This is why I'm saying to you that the market hasn't fully priced in the ideas of the tariff. It hasn't fully priced in the fear of high interest rates in the US. Looking at interest rates right now, they're starting to bet to the idea that maybe they are going to cut the rates because the data that's come out today, just quickly having a look, we've had some data come out and it shows unemployment claims came in lower, okay? What does that tell you? Tells you a robust economy. They're claiming less benefit. Well, people are claiming less. That means there's jobs out there available for them. That means the economy is going to be thriving. That means the Fed has no reason to cut the rates. Now we're waiting for the PMI services reading to come out. And if this comes in and shows that the economy is doing well, then the Federal Reserve has no reason to actually cut the interest rates because the economy is still doing strong. But now you've got another metric, which is the tariffs, which can actually impact the way inflation is going to behave. Even though Jay Powell did say, we're not too concerned about the tariffs. Well, let's just put things into perspective, ladies and gentlemen, and have a look at this. Here is the tariff list. Okay, so if I just zoom in just ever so slightly to put it into perspective. So China's at the top, 67. Okay, 67% tariffs charged to the US, and then the US is doing 34%. European Union, 39%. Tariff is doing, US is doing 20%, right? Vietnam, you're probably thinking, what the hell does Vietnam give? Look at this. What are the top 10 Vietnam exports to the US in 2023? All right. So you've got apparel and clothing, 6.5 billion, toys and games, 2.7 billion, plastics, 2.71 billion, rubber, 1.52 billion, commodities, 1.26, then knitted apparel, 7.85, furniture, 7.92 billion, furniture's again, 11.96, and then you've got nuclear reactors. What the hell is going on in Vietnam? And they're selling nuclear reactors at 17.49 billion, and of course 41.7 billion for electrical machinery. This is why Trump's doing what he's doing. Okay? When you look at the tariff list itself, let me just bring that back up. You got to say to yourself, what companies, where is it? Where's my tariff list? I just had it. Wait there. Where are you? There you go. China, cars, products, all that. So basically, any stocks listed in the United States, US stock market, short them, all right? But it all depends on what China's going to do. And whatever reciprocal tariffs come into play, or whatever China says, or whatever Euro's going to say, it's going to create trade war. After tariffs, what do you think could happen? Sanctions. If someone comes back at Trump and says, we're going to do this, and Trump doesn't like it, Trump's going to turn around and give people the sanctions. He did it to Russia because Putin wouldn't come to an agreement with Ukraine through a good old sanction. There's a couple of ace cards that Trump's got behind him, and he will exercise those, no problem. Now, to put it into perspective, let's just go and have a look at Bitcoin. Not looking good, bruv. The carry trade unwind is happening as we speak. That's $6.5 trillion that needs to get moved. And they've got every reason to move it. MicroStrategy is now being converted to a buying opportunity. They just downgraded it to sell by the firm that says convertible issuance strategy is likely tapped. Okay. Now, let's just go and have a look at MicroStrategy, because the same way I talk about Bitcoin in this sense, I've had people come at me and start going, MicroStrategy is this and all of that stuff. Okay, cool. Let's just look at MicroStrategy from the perspective of Wall Street, okay? When you've got articles that are coming out downgrading the actual stock, what do you think investors are going to do? Historically, downgrades, they refer to it. They look at Mitch Foley and all S&P credit rating companies that do downgrades, upgrades of credit rating and what have you on various aspects. And when they start coming out talking about MicroStrategy and saying they're downgrading it to sell because the convertible bond issuance is tapped, all right? That only means that people have got to change their idea about MicroStrategy, okay? This $80 billion market cap in principle is money that is borrowed. They're putting that money to work and buy the Bitcoin. Great business model. But that's not exactly encouraging to hear if sailors out there trying to offer people convertible bonds because of Bitcoin's price action. Now, remember, all these convertible bonds that sailors been getting is on the basis that Bitcoin has been going up and up and up. So you've got to try and kill someone's idea that Bitcoin's not going to stop going up. And when you see Michael Saylor buying nearly $1.9 billion worth of Bitcoin last week, then you can only feel encouraged to get involved in that. But what I want to draw your attention to is this. If the carry trade unwind is going to continue, then ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin might have a little bit of a problem climbing up. Everyone is awaiting for the fact that, yes, whales are coming in and accumulating Bitcoin. But in my opinion, I don't think that whales are done accumulating in this zone. I really don't think. Remember, if you're a whale, you're in a position to be buying Bitcoin. So a drawdown ain't going to be a problem for you. Realistically, you look at Bitcoin's price action right now, it's between 88 and 81. Okay, that's the range. What would be the next logical spot? It would be between 76 and 64. That's not that much of a drawdown when you're buying millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. You can absorb it. And people seem to think that 1 point has to hold because the whales don't give a damn about you. They are interested in getting it on a good discount. Once all this shenanigans with the tariffs all comes to an end, then maybe money can start coming in again. You need to cut the rates first. You need to enable liquidity to be accessible. And right now we don't have that. If people are wetting the bed and getting out of dollars to go into yen, look at that. They are heading up towards the point where the 5th of August, when the last interest rate increase came into action, they're heading up towards that point. Okay? Investors are scared. But isn't that a time to buy? Yes, it is. Wait. Bitcoin, in respects to the order flow, right? People are getting, in my opinion, people aren't really paying attention. In crypto, I don't think anybody is paying too much attention to what's really going on and what really moves money. Okay, we can look at the Glassnode and rely on all that BS. Okay, we can do all of that. We can also go, Glassnode right here. This shows us the inflows, outflows, and what have you. That's fine. Okay, but this is what I think's going on. The ETF is still accumulating. Okay. And the reason it's still accumulating because the same players are shorting the dear life out of Bitcoin. So it doesn't matter what Bitcoin's price does. It can keep on going down in futures and they will keep on buying the ETF. Once they're done with the shorts and they're going to want to buy to cover, then that's when prices will naturally start to come up. Looking at the liquidation points, you can see we still got a little bit of flavor down here at 81,000. That is a problem for us, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Going into price. Oh, sorry. Let me just refresh that bad boy. It has been snapped. Pac-Man has come along and taken it all, ladies and gents. Let's just quickly have a look at it. Here we go. 3, 2, what? There you go. So they've eaten that liquidity. Now, this is on the 3-day chart. Let's just zoom out and have a look at the monthly chart just to put it into perspective so you guys can understand exactly what I'm looking at and going with. See, you've got this low down here, the 81 region itself. So we've still got 80,000 as well. So we've still got a little bit more flavor. $800 move to eat that liquidity to the downside. More than likely going to happen. It's way more than likely going to happen. It's possible, you know. Now, I know I've come with been a bearer of bad news, but hopefully this can get you excited. So I've actually got toys made about me. Look at this. This is the Crypto Degen starter pack. But I'm going to complain about this because I would never endorse an Apple Mac. The box of tissues, no idea. And I would certainly not encourage XRP right there. So I know you guys are watching it. So can you please fix this? But fair play on the toy, man. Look at that. Fantastic. So get yourselves involved, guys. I have no idea who did it. Well, Bryony, you did this, bruv. But I don't know how this was made. But that is flipping brilliant. I want that toy. A little stupid vape pen. I would never have that as a vape, man. What the hell? But no battery. One toke is finished. Anyways, so this is where we are right now with Bitcoin. So what I'm trying to say to you all, what I'm trying to say to missing Vaseline, bro. What I'm trying to say to you all, just, you know, jokes aside, the carry trade unwind is very serious, especially given the fact that the rates right here on the yen and the euro is so enticing for investors, which means that if you've got 9 days till expiry, that can mean that over the next 9 days, we're probably going to see the appreciation of the yen and the euro to continue. That means that investors are going to get rid of their dollars and they're going to get into safety, and then they're going to go into the yen and, of course, go into the euro on the back of that. But surely, if dollar goes down, Bitcoin should be going up. Problem is, investors aren't taking their money out of dollar and going into stock. They're going into bonds, and investors are scared. Okay. Now, gold, you're looking at gold thinking, what on earth is happening there? They're preparing for the next hedge, the next event. What's the next event, ladies and gentlemen? I'm telling you, this red vector candle, they're going to come back to it. I said it to you guys last time about the last vector candle. They came straight back to it. Anyone that trades gold, you will see it comes back to that point. Why? Because in the next 34 days, interest rates We're going to know if that's going to be the case. If the interest rates in the dollar are going to be cut, then the yield on the dollar is not so much lucrative anymore. So what do? You go into a higher yielding asset, even though gold is a zero yielding asset against the US dollar's interest rates. There's always that negative correlation. When the interest rates go down, gold goes up against the US dollar. They're preparing for it. So gold probably going to keep marking down just a little bit more. I'd expect a little bit more support inside of this range. But if they really do want to prepare for gold, then we've got this big imbalance down here, which is the green vector candle block right there, which gold could easily come down into and effectively prepare the hedge to then make the bounce and climb back up. Okay. Now, with all that information regarding the yen and cryptocurrency and what have you, the question that I've got for you all is this. Are you buying in this spot? With now that you know that the carry trade is starting to unwind, and the fact that we know that the Japanese are going to increase their interest rates, which logic says that the last time they increased them, or the declaration of them being increased, was on the 31st of July. 4 or 5 days later, the stock market crashed. And when the market crashed, it created the volatility index to spike up towards this 30 zone over here, 38. Okay. Up there, 35. That was the best time to buy. Okay. It's 23, 24 now. Would you buy Bitcoin knowing that there's potentially going to be a volatile instance? Because I'm waiting for this to get recovered. When you look back in time on the volatility index, without fail, okay, without fail, there's always going to be an event. There's always an event. One event there, one event here, one event here, right there. And then you obviously had the daddy event right there. 100. That was COVID. These mini events, mini events. We get 5th of August. I think it's time to start getting some events in. That's what that's saying, because we haven't had any event outside of the actual carry trade. We've not had one yet. It's been a bit too quiet. That means a lot of people have been making money. That means economic expansion has been happening for days on end. I'd only be buying Bitcoin once you do get above the 30 mark. And if anything else, Bitcoin goes up from this point, or the VIX goes down and Bitcoin just starts to climb up, you better pay yourselves, because the next event is due. And macroeconomically speaking, we are in the environment for it. Fed cuts the interest rates. You could get a Fed pivot. Investors will start moving money around. It's a very interesting time, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting time. Market is not open just yet. Any questions for me, guys? Any questions? Bitcoin, you joke. Any questions, guys? If not, like the stream. Where are you trading? If you are trading it all, get over to BTCC. Take advantage of NASDAQ, S&P, and all that fun and games. You can actually start shorting MicroStrategy, because you can use that ticker right there. Okay? And trade crypto and trade gold. You can use this as a hedging platform. Okay? And of course, anyone in the United States, you don't need VPN or KYC to actually use this platform. And you do get a 10% deposit bonus up to 100K deposit. So that's 10K. All right? It's paid out on the Wednesday, every Wednesday of the week. Okay? So that's in the description of this live stream. But more importantly, questions. Tino, what would you do today if you had money in USD? If I had money in dollars right now, looking at it at 1.1% appreciation, okay, I would have missed out on the boat in principle. But if I'd go over to the bonds market, I can see the bonds are starting to climb up nicely, okay? And I don't think they're done with the bonds just yet. Investors are going to start going into bonds. So I'd be getting myself involved in the bonds market. Okay, that is me, quite frankly, what I do. You could also take advantage of the fact that, I mean, you could get into some VIX futures. That'd be a little bit volatile. but it would be the bonds, which is why the 10-year futures markets are going up. They're ripping it. And when they go up, NASDAQ and S&P, oh, God, they're trading pretty negatively. Forget this little move up right now, but the market's not even open yet. Wait, market's opening in 4 minutes. Just look at this. Where you at? Tesla, huge gap down from 282 all the way to 265. Nvidia, 104, getting close to our $92 projection. Microsoft, down 370. GameStop, gapping down 21. Amazon, huge gap down to 180. Okay, MicroStrategy, not doing too bad. 287 from 312. Okay, Netflix down $900, doing really well to hold up and towards that 1,000 mark. Google down $150. Adobe down. Everything is down. Now, naturally, we're going to be expecting a little bit of a recovery because a lot of people will be covering their shorts. Okay, oil shoe bag to the downside. Complete wipeout on oil. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Damn, I didn't project oil, man. Never mind. Never mind. Here we go. Interesting. MicroStrategy collapse could bust the cryptocurrency as Bitcoin goes down. The thing is, Bitcoin should not feel the impact of MicroStrategy collapsing. If anything, that's going to get everyone's eyes open. Why? Because there's just shy of 512,000 Bitcoin that is going to get picked up if they would be forced to sell it. Obviously, they can't be forced to sell it, but that's another story. If we lose 76K, do you think that is a problem? No. It's not a problem if it loses 76K. Just look. Listen, this is what I mean. Price points. Look, I'm expecting Bitcoin to come down and recover this green vector candle. Okay? That's what I'd be expecting. I'm expecting it. Okay? It's going to come down and eat this liquidity. We've been waiting for these vectors to get recovered by the hybrid system. So I'm expecting it to come down to that point. Okay? Something magnificent would need to happen for Bitcoin to start coming back up again. The US government would come out and say, we're buying Bitcoin today. That should then send Bitcoin up. That'll get everybody excited. But the order flow itself is suggesting that these guys are ready to buy Bitcoin. This is good news. The carry trade is good news. But articles like this will sell it on the idea that it's sad because it's bad news because price goes down. Price going down does not mean it's bad news. It's not. Because look, people are buying it. When the volatility index shoots up to 30, you buy. And the old saying holds true. When it's high, you buy. When it's low, you hold. That's the old saying. But when it's low, you are in essence preparing yourself to short it because it's going to be low to start coming up. So if it might be at 20 and that's low, then it starts going up to 25, you'd be in shorts already. Yeah? People are buying. So whenever I say Bitcoin down, it's this, it's a red day, people that call me a bear clearly do not get the idea. And that's the sad truth. There's a dude right here that wants to buy $1.21 million worth of Bitcoin at 74. Go down a little bit more. You got a guy here who wants to buy 15 million at 70,000. Got another guy down here that wants to buy 20 million at 70,000. All right, hold on. You got another dude here that wants to buy, 14 million at 69,765. What am I doing? I'm showing you where the money is at. We already know that looking at the CoinAnk, they have a frequency of selling at speed and then price comes down. If we're really in the idea of a bull market, then the moves up should continue. But they're not because investors have got short-term mentality. Your new whales that are coming into crypto, they don't give a damn about your cycle. They don't give a damn about your miners. They don't care about Michael Saylor, all right? They admire him at being able to get so much debt and buy Bitcoin with it. Happy days. But they don't give a damn about your perspective or your idea of the future of currency. They don't care. They just want to know if they can mug you off and make profit on it. And you buy into it when it's going up and they sell it to you. Damn, what you thought cryptocurrency was for the brotherhood. That was when Bitcoin was on its own and it had no other BS involved. Now you've got an ETF and they're just shorting the dear life out of Bitcoin and buying the ETF at the same time. Welcome to your hedging plays. Welcome to your gamma negative plays. It's your asset is being Bitcoin is Wall Street's bitch. That's it. It really is. And the fact that there's a following behind it, even better. You know, that's my opinion anyway. What is that indicator called? This indicator is called the hybrid system. And if you are completely new to this channel, please type 1. Let me bring you a little bit of information. There's a free course on the Traders Reality website. Just do it. It's free. An hour long. You've given me your time for 30 minutes, mad love and respect. Another 20 minutes or so, okay? Well, about 40 minutes, you're to get yourself this course, okay? It will break everything down about the hybrid system. You want to expand on that, you become a platinum member. When you get access to the PDF library, masterclass sessions, I'm going to be going into the Discord today because we're going to do some trading over there. When I say trading, we're going to be highlighting levels on NASDAQ, and I'm just going to be telling people I'm going long options, whatever it is that I decide to do. And we put all of that in the Discord, okay? I'm introducing everyone into options in the platinum membership because it's a way of managing risk, and we're using certain bits of data, hybrid system, all together. Happy days. We've had decent 3 days. So get involved in that. But as a platinum member, you get access to these checklists, which are various strategies behind the hybrid system. Okay. And one that we're going into right now is the Brinks box strategy, which is effectively this one right here, checklist 8. And then the video that I did this week on the important candle, that's the block trade principle right there. And you've seen exactly what it has done. It's come into it and rejected it. The logic was they're selling from that point. Okay. So that's all in the description. And if you are new, just go and check it out. Do the free course first, man. Get that done and dusted, and you have a good idea of where we are with everything across the board. Okay, cool. Anything else? What was your silver projection? My silver projection was $50. And now it's still 31. But yeah, silver is a very, very slow burner. Slow burner. But it's great to trade. Gold moves really well. Wow. Very interesting move. Aussie yen. Here's the other one, the carry trade. Aussie yen trade. There it is. When Aussie yen is down, you know, they're buying. They could be selling now. Things could come back up. But take the idea of the carry trade very seriously. Okay? Anything that moves up right now is just selling the rallies to then continue to the downside. So just take that into consideration. Okay? All right then. Anything else? I wouldn't be buying bullion yet. Not yet. Still expensive. It's still expensive. Tina, according to the weekly cycle, it should go back to 50 on 50 minute before Friday evening, right? 50? What's 50? Can you show the buying zones for ETH, please? The buying zones for ETH. You know what? Quite frankly, your buying zones should all be based off Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance, where you at? Ooh, nearly hitting our 6330 projection. People are like, Tino, why is it going to go? It's not going to go up there. It's not going to go up there, Tino. It's not. Oh, fuck yeah, it's going, man. Anyways, never mind. Buying zones for Ethereum is buying zones for Bitcoin. You want to know buying zones? Go to USDT. That's your buying zones. Okay? Look at that. Look at that. If anyone watched yesterday's live stream in the morning, did we not speak about this 5.16? Look at what it did. That is disgusting. I'll never take benefit for anything. But I'm blowing my fucking horn for that all day. Because the logic behind it got triggered. Because what's over here? The psychology of investors to get rid of Bitcoin at that price point. That encouraged investors. You want buying points? You refer to this chart. You ignore Bitcoin because this chart tells you when they're going to be buying it, when they're going to be selling it, the psychology of it. And you take the history of the USDT behavior and you correlate the idea that they spent a bit of time over here selling the Bitcoin, which when Bitcoin was at its highs. Okay? I'm going to take a stab and sell my Bitcoin. Bang, it goes up. Bitcoin goes down. All right? That is crazy. 516 on the nose and reverse. What a joke. Have yourselves a great evening, afternoon, morning, and I'll be tuning into you all later on. Hit the like button, subscribe, and keep an eye on the carry. Peace. And